Yes, I know, right? Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Read DA Battle of the Labyrinth live show. That was a mouthful. I am here with our lovely co-hosts, Kinsey and Min, and we're here to talk about these books.
Yeah.
Might look like this, might look like this. It's so tabbed up now. I love it. Anyways, so just a reminder, everyone, be nice in the chat and no spoilers for the final book. We will try to keep to that.
Or any of the other
or any of the later books. Like you can talk anything book 1 through 4. So, all right. So we have Kinsey back with us because she has been adventuring. Where have you been adventuring, Kinsey?
I just got back from Rome. It was amazing.
Yes. That just like I am so jealous.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
All right. Anyways, so what was your favorite part? What was your favorite part about like your favorite place to visit in Rome? I do have to ask that question. I don't need this to.
Okay. I feel like this is really just cheesy, but
Listen.
the Colosseum.
Is it because you got? Is it because you got to take that picture?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I saw that and I was like, she is living the dream. That is, Butley is not a, sorry, I'm getting the link up for everyone so that we can see it and all of that fun stuff. Anyways, by the way, if you guys start having issues hearing me, let me know because I have a secondary set of headphones to put in if I need to. I just don't like them because they're much more cumbersome and my hair is not as cute.
Oh. You're offering them to us, and I was like, we live a little far away.
Yeah, I know you do. It's very sad. I tried to move up nearer there, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
No.
No, I applied for a job in Indianapolis, and I have not heard from them, so it's probably a no on their part.
Uh-huh.
But okay, so let's go through. Wait, too. Say what?
Indiana is a different time zone. It actually might be like, it's not farther, I don't think, but it's across the Great Lakes for me, so it's more difficult to get to.
I think they're Central Time Zone.
I don't know. My brother lives there, and so I don't remember. I think we're with him at some part of the year, and some part of the year we're not. But anyways, so real quick, let's introduce ourselves so that we can tell everybody. I'm Margaret. I am the channel The Word Nerd. I am currently battling a sickness, a plague of some sort that has made my asthma do weird things. So if I'm gross and sniffly, that's why. Don't worry, you can't catch it through the computer screen. Not that kind of virus. But I talk about books and writing and Batman, basically, is what I talk about.
And Catwoman.
You're not wrong.
And Catwoman. Depends on where you are. Okay, Kinsey and then Min, do you want to go ahead and introduce yourselves real quick?
Yeah, I'm Kenzie from the channel Kenzie Lee T. I talk about books and mainly Percy Jackson. A shocker, a very big shocker.
I'm shocked.
Why I'm here, honestly, like, ugh.
I am Min Kobayashi from the channel Min Kobayashi. Surprise, surprise. I talk also about books. I talk about I read pretty much everything.
Yeah.
Mostly fantasy, science fiction in all the realms, all the age groups, and classics.
I think both of you, I became friends with you because I clicked on a video. Min, it was a specific recommendation, and then Kinsey, I think I saw you through the BookTube newbie tag or something. But I clicked on both of you. With both of you, I saw the Percy Jackson books in your background. And immediately smashed subscribe.
Yes.
Like, you started over a full year after me, but I do think that my newbie tag is just like me, like holding the Percy Jackson books.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I rant about Percy Jackson in my newbie tag for quite a bit.
Yeah. I seem to recall some of that, but oh goodness, it's hot in here. Maybe it's the light. Okay, so we're talking about the Battle of the Labyrinth today, and holy crap, stuff goes down in this book.
This book.
Oh my gosh, what was it like? I know we've all reread this, but let's start with Min, since you you reread this, like you were done in December. So what was it like rereading this for however many times we've reread it?
Yeah, I was just looking back at my thoughts because I was like, I finished it on the 15th of December, so it's been over a month now. It's funny because the Battle of the Labyrinth was my least favorite when I first read it, and every time I read it, I like it more and more. It's just I just love it so much, and I love how much like it ups the ante and like explores so many things that like haven't been, and I just love the description and like the greater mythos of the world and stuff. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, it really does up the ante. Like I remember reading it, like this time around reading it, and I'm going, wow, this is like, for a middle grade, this is getting dark. We're talking about milkmen that have been wandering around in a labyrinth until they have starved to death or died of thirst probably. But like,
Yeah.
ugh. Kinsey, what was it like for you rereading it this time?
Well, I love it just as much. We'll put that out there. But I think that like, I mean, I don't want to like give anything away for like future books, but the later books made me appreciate Nico more. And so like coming into this book with like that, like so much Nico appreciation, it's so weird to like see how my view of that little man has changed. But oh my gosh, I loved it so much.
Oh, it's so funny. I feel like I love Nico as a character more and more as I read this. Like I just appreciate him more.
Yeah.
So if we have anybody in the chat, speaking of which, I should probably say hello. We don't.
I'm watching, so I don't know how there's only one. If you're also there,
I don't know. But anyways, questions can be put in the chat if the one person watching has any questions for us about these books. So we are going to talk about some stuff. One of the things that really hit me in this book, and it's a specific scene. Oh my gosh, it's the one with the Sphinx scene. It was really interesting to see how he keeps pulling stuff from previous books. Like he's pulling from Tyson's backstory in that one. And then we have a mention of Annabeth's fatal flaw. And I was just like, I love this man as a writer. Right? I just love how he doesn't forget anything except apparently Blackjack's do horses have genders?
Yeah. I think
I feel like the proper term is sex. Like
he's a mare at one point.
What? Yeah, he's a mare in the Sea of Monsters, and then all of a sudden he is a stallion. Or a gelding, we don't know in the Titan's Curse. So,
no, he really can't figure out Nico's age. He starts off with like him and Percy being like 4 years apart, and by the end of the next series, they're like 2.
Oh, really?
At the end of the actually no, it's the Mart of Athitha. Nico is 14 and somehow Percy's only 16.
I thought he was 17 by that point.
Well, he would have been 17 later on, but like they were 14 and 10 at the same time. And they went from being 14 and almost 17.
I don't know that he ever actually says Nico's exact age. So technically I think he could get, like he says he might be about 10 or 11. And I know he says that in this one as well. But that is
that's interesting. I never noticed.
And he's like, oh, he must have been 11 or so. And then like later on, he's like, yeah. Jason's like, yeah, he's 14 now. And I was like, what?
I wonder. I can't say that. Never mind. It's a spoiler.
Anyway.
Wait. I'm just mind blown at the fact that Nico's like 14 in the Heroes of Olympus series.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm gonna cry now. I'm thinking about everything.
Oh, you sound like me when I found out the ending of Naruto.
Oh my god.
But that's off topic.
This poor child.
All of these poor children. But like, I'm really enjoying how much like we're seeing things that are either coming into play from before or things that are going to be like foreshadowing for later. Because like I feel like every time I read it, I catch something.
Yeah, I know, it's weird. It just amazes me that like, I don't know, Rick, man. Him and his like new twist on mythology, and then making sure everything's like still decently connected.
He might forget minor character traits, but
right here I am, like can't even remember like the color of my character's eyes. So
that's why I write these things down.
Right.
Although I did have a character who had color changing eyes.
That's convenient.
That is convenient.
Not on purpose. His eyes, I specifically wrote his eyes as brown in the first draft. And then for some reason, because my main character, her eyes are green, I decided I wanted the male love interest's eyes to be gray. Because I just have a thing, obviously, for green and gray eyes.
Why?
And so,
why?
Like, who knows? We'll get to that probably here in a minute. But I ended up like going, no, I want to go back to brown eyes because we don't talk about brown eyes enough.
That is very true.
It is. We need to romanticize
it's
brown
like,
eyes.
I have brown eyes, and I've never heard a book being like, oh, the gorgeous brown eyes, this brown character. And it's like, literally, I think like 80% of the population of the world has brown eyes. Probably why you're not.
My favorite thing to do is when I'm reading a book or watching a TV show, I was doing this once Upon a Time, is I will count the number of blue and green eyes versus the number of brown eyes.
Oh my God. That's funny.
I'm weird like that. But anyways, so what was I going to say? Oh, okay. So maybe a couple favorite parts in this book. I think we all know what Margaret's favorite part is.
I mean, isn't that like all our favorite parts?
Actually, I think I might have a new favorite part, and I can talk about that real quick. And it's we're getting into spoiler territory. If you haven't read the book,
leave.
You don't have to leave, but if you care about spoilers, you probably want to. But okay, so I say this all the time, and I didn't know this until maybe a couple years ago. But I am a reunion whore. Like reunions, I love them so much. And so I think actually my favorite part is when he comes back from the dead and Annabeth is just like so happy to see him, but also so pissed at him at the same time.
I love
Can you like, hey, yeah, just walking in on my funeral. They're going to light.
So casual!
She just punched him though.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, I would have punched him too.
Yeah, no, I definitely would have punched
Making
him.
me worry for 2 weeks. And then just waltzing in like it's no big deal.
Like with a creepy woman who wanted to keep him forever.
Oh, that's I don't know. I feel bad for Calypso. I don't think she wanted to keep him forever, but she did want him to stay forever.
Right.
I actually really do like Calypso, and I really love that like he plants the moon lace.
Yeah, that was a cute little. I wish they'd done something with that besides just planting it.
Yeah. Is it mentioned in this is probably spoilers. Is it mentioned in the other series, the moon lace? I think it is.
I don't know. Unless it's on the island.
Yeah, it might be mentioned later. I don't know. I don't remember. It's been a really long time. Okay, so the last time I read these books was right before Blood of Olympus came out.
I've never really read Heroes of Olympus, so
I've reread the first 3, I think.
I have reread the second one.
Listen,
times. I think I've reread Son of Neptune like 3 to 4 times, but that's the only one I've reread.
I really need to reread Lost Hero because I read that one first because I discovered Percy Jackson by stumbling upon it in my friend's house when she was sleeping and I had already woken up and I just grabbed a book off her shelf. And The Lost Hero, which says it was the first in the series, and I was so confused. And then I finished that book and then read the Percy Jackson series. But I never went and read back the Lost Hero, so I was utterly confused the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all these people, why is a Percy dude so important? I don't understand.
Okay, so I'll let Kinsey tell people why Percy's important.
Well,
Kinsey, we'll be here all evening if we let Kinsey do that.
Yeah, actually, though, that would
So,
turn into like a
essay.
3-hour speech from me, and I don't need that.
He is so. What was it? There was a moment that I was like, he's just so like. Oh, the river with the naiad with the stables.
Oh yeah, I loved that.
My man.
You want to get listen. You can get on Percy if you want for him being bland. Whatever. I don't. Okay, he typical 2000s YA protagonist, but like.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Like,
I'm
listen.
into that.
At least my dude recognizes consent at 14. He's like, oh, you don't want me to use your river? Okay, I won't.
This man.
Yeah, I do love the recurring theme of like the cost that heroes like cost the world around them and how that happens.
Yeah.
Also, I'm forgetting his name, but the dude that's freed from that, Son of Ares, who just gets to like have his farm now and treat the animals better.
Eurytion, I believe it is.
It starts with a name.
I think so. I know how it's spelled. I'm going off of it's kind of like Euripides.
Yeah. Oh, really exciting side note is the fact that because I talk about these books so much, my roommate who doesn't read decided to borrow them all. So, and because I'm so preciously aware of them, she's been carrying them around in a bag. In a bag. I love it. She's reading the Titan's Curse now, but it's really funny.
That's
fun coming into my room and borrowing them. I'm like, yes.
Oh my god, I love that.
Yes, we've got another person for our cult.
Oh my god, I love it.
Yeah, that is an interesting theme, like that. I think we especially see it in this book, like the cost that happens in. I think we've especially in like I think it hit harder maybe a little bit in the Titan's Curse, but he's still continuing to push on that. I like that. That's a good.
Yeah, he doesn't just forget about it,
right.
As well as like the idea of actually having a crazy family. Like, yes, we're related more on the monster side, and it's like, oh, you have that side of the family. Like the crazy discussion of like Poseidon's sons and like what they do in their father's names and stuff. I liked that.
Yeah, that was funny, and how Poseidon clearly cannot control any of his children. Clearly,
no. Yeah, I do like
conversation that she's the daughter of Gaia, which is just disturbing in future things. Oh, also the setup with Hera. I totally forgot about like what happened with Hera in this book and how it played into later events.
Yeah, I know. I was sitting like I remember reading it and I was like, Hera's being extremely nice right now. This is not normal.
Everything could have ended up if it had been slightly different in this book.
Yeah. I think we do see a lot of him like researching because we have so many. This is not staying in. This is driving me nuts. And if I haul off and throw my computer across the room, you know why. Anyways, so I think because we have things like last names that start coming into play. Like we hear Luke's last name for the first time. We're hearing some for like the Roman deities. So I'm wondering if he hadn't at least started if either the research for this led to the next series, or if he hadn't already started to research the next series.
Yeah, I was surprised that I thought Castilian didn't come in until like the flashbacks in The Last Olympian.
Yeah. Spoiler alert, we are going to see more about Luke's backstory in the next book. Thank goodness.
Right. Huge spoilers.
Yes.
He might be important or something.
He might be.
What?
I don't know. It's not like he's been a main person since the beginning. Also, the prophecies always get me, but I think this is my like saddest and like it's just horrific. I cry so much whenever I just hear it.
Listen, okay, the thing I need to mention about that prophecy is where is it? It's somewhere in here. I love the fact that like Percy's he asks Annabeth what it is, and he gets all upset. They're both sitting there upset about this like line, which was lose a love to worse than death, I believe it was. And they're both upset about it. And he's upset because he thinks she's thinking about Luke. And she's clearly upset because she thinks it means Percy. Like,
Well, no, because she didn't reveal it until later.
She at the very end of the book.
Yeah, like, and he's like, "Oh, you thought it was about Luke," and then she was like, "But you don't." And then she never says it, but she's like, "I thought it was about you."
See, I read that as her almost saying, I was like, wait, what? Did I think I highlighted it.
It was like, I love ended up being Luke, but I thought it was you, which is why I didn't say.
Yeah.
Which is so much like when he gone missing that she was like, "Oh, he's dead."
Yeah, that was so. I love that scene. I really do. Where is it? Oh my gosh, this is driving me nuts because I know I highlighted it and did something or wrote on it. There it was. There it is. Okay, I found it. It was hiding. Yeah. Yeah, she doesn't outright say she thought it was Percy. Like, she kind of stops herself because these two are in such serious denial right now.
They already kissed, man.
I know, right? Like, it's not like he has that much to... And then he had to ruin things by bringing Rachel into it.
Percy, he's clueless on most things when it comes to Annabeth.
Okay, also, that is something that bothered me. Talking about, like... I was just... Rachel was treated in this book.
No,
I didn't realize the angst that he put between the two of them. Because I adore both characters, and I never, for me, it was always very clear that he was going to end up with Annabeth, and I really didn't care. Like, I always loved Rachel, and I loved their friendship. And I was like, it's okay, like, he can have friends that are girls. Yeah. But, just didn't remember how, angsty it all was.
See, I read this shortly after, probably during the height of the Twilight craze, which is when we were throwing love interests in simply to cause drama, even though it was quite obvious, who was going to be the endgame person. And so I kind of just dismissed Rachel the first time around because I thought, it was like, oh, that's what she's here to be. She's just going to be that, I got to cause drama between Percy and Annabeth, even though clearly it's going to be Annabeth in the end. So she's another one of those characters that I appreciate more and more each book. I mean, one of my favorite scenes is when she throws the hairbrush at Kronos.
That is a beautiful scene.
Bitch got balls. I mean,
right. Yeah, I think that this book made me kind of standoffish to Rachel.
Mm-hmm, it did.
Yeah, but then once the next book hits, I liked her.
Yeah. I do. It's funny. I'm always in the position where I like the other person. Quite often, if it's two guys that we're talking about, usually it's the side guy that I would end up dating, not the main guy, because he's Edward Cullen, and who wants to date that?
Date both of them.
Listen, at least Jacob had a sense of humor.
Oh my god.
I meant I don't know anything about Twilight. I've never read them.
Oh, lucky you. I really loved them when they first came out. I don't know how I'd feel about them now.
Oh, I tried to read them for the first time last year, and it was cringe.
Your favorite face?
What?
That in your pain of your face, that pain for the love that you have for it.
Right. So, anyways, but I really did okay. Going back to Rachel instead of Twilight. I'm sorry, I keep getting us on these tangents because my mind is a tangent. But going back to Rachel, I really liked how that ties back to Sally.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We get some of her backstory through events that are happening.
Yeah.
I did. Is into the next book and flashbacks.
Yep. All of that. Oh, speaking of which, flashbacks, I want to track back to Nico real quick. Because something I noticed reading this book is the parts with Nico, except for the very, very end, we could take out 90% of what happens with Nico, and it would have zero effect on the plot of this particular book. Going to the ranch doesn't really have any effect on the plot of the book. The things that he's seeing with Nico in his dreams doesn't necessarily have effect on the plot of the book, but it is so important for leading into the next one. Like, that's something that I thought was really interesting to see, like, how far ahead he's thinking, and like finding ways to link that to the plot of this book, even though technically we could just take all of that out and it wouldn't change anything.
Yeah.
How do I mention this without spoilers? But one contention I've always had with him is that I think that, like, he adds something related to Nico just for drama later on, and rereading it, I'm like, it doesn't make sense that, anyways, it made me frustrated. I was like, why did you?
I'm sure we can talk about that if we get to that book. if we last that long.
Hey, I'm good to reread them all.
If this cold does not kill me first. So, all right. Yes. Speaking of points of contention that we have with Rick.
Well, do you want to talk to Percy Jackson with us?
True.
Okay.
Have you read the series?
Yes, he has.
Awesome. All right. So, can we talk about his mythology for Athena though for a minute?
Yes, always.
That frustrates me so much. So to summarize, for those of you that might not be remembering what I'm talking about, in the book when Annabeth is talking about how children of Annabeth come about, it's that they're brain children that are just like magically created when Athena has a like intellectual connection with a mortal. And it talks about the fact that Athena just sprung from Zeus's thoughts, and that very much was not what happened.
No. I was thinking that. I was like, this is him.
He literally, like, he ate his wife. That's what happened.
Which is so funny that, like, Rick doesn't include that part of the mythology. Because literally this book and the next book are pretty, like, morbid for
and the next series.
So, like, the fact that you just don't include that, you know, Zeus ate his wife, like
his pregnant wife.
Okay, also though, this is so bad. I recently watched the movie Storks and and when they were talking about the like how children of Athena were born, that's literally all I could imagine is these like kids being like generated through a machine or like a letter, and then a stork just dropping them off. So bad.
Oh my gosh. That is an interesting thing though for the children of Athena. Hold on. I feel like I'm very washed out right now. Does that help? Okay. I do like that we have that backstory and that myth. It's kind of like,
yeah.
But can I like
go ahead.
I'm sure it says in here, it's like, last week on the Real Gods of Olympus, Metis was pregnant with Zeus's child. She had a prophecy that the child would be a girl, but if Metis and Zeus had another child after that, it would be a boy who would grow up and take Zeus's place. Hearing this, Zeus did the natural thing. He panicked and swallowed pregnant wife whole.
The natural thing.
I love that not even Zeus trusts his own dick.
I think that it's also just it has a lot of, preference in the myths. Just if you're in where you just eat people.
I know.
That's what I learned.
Cannibalism.
It says that in Percy Jackson, the Greek god, so it's confusing that it's like different than that. Whatever. Maybe that was just the edited. It was like he did pop out of his brain. I'm not going to talk about how she got in there.
Right. Maybe the publishers, when that's not weird. Like, oof.
Yeah. Sorry. The tea is starting to work. Fun. Okay, so are there any specific like scenes or moments that you guys want to talk about?
Oh, we haven't brought about Daedalus yet.
Yeah, I know we do need to talk about Daedalus. Oh my gosh.
And also like the labyrinth itself. And the King of Ghosts scene's still one of my favorite scenes in the whole series. Probably you guys don't care nearly as much, but I think it's epic.
I think we know that Nico is your favorite. And so we will go down that rabbit hole with you since you've been going down the rabbit hole with us with our favorites.
I know, I love everyone. Pretty much.
Which Ghost King scene are you talking about? Because I can think of a couple. Ooh.
Like the end scene. So when he oh, also
the final scene between are you talking about
the final scene when he steals it from Minos?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's the scene in the laboratory. The laboratory, yeah?
Yeah. When they're in the lab and they and he steals it from him.
Oh, the title of Ghost King? Yes.
Oh yeah.
Power move. Power move.
Oh, also just for funniness, the scene when Poseidon walks in on.
My God.
That was so hilarious and awkward because we're sitting there like the god of the sea, something like that. And then he doesn't even he walks out the window basically.
No, he just evaporates, doesn't
he? Just evaporates.
And he's like, yeah, Poseidon decided to use the fire escape. And Paul's like, well, Paul is a winner.
Paul is a winner.
Yeah.
I love Paul so much.
Pretty much every time Nico comes on the page, I just go, and just smile maniacally.
I was almost like I just my heart was so happy when Percy invited him in for cake and ice cream. I'm like, they're gonna have to explain that to Paul why we've got somebody crawling in from the fire escape now instead of leaving, but
oh yeah. Also that scene. So good. Which is why I'm like, I don't know. I just love them as brothers so much. I think that they have adorableness. It's just like
I think I know what you're talking about when you said there's a thing he does that bugged you later on.
I don't know. Like, is it that... Okay. But, like, Nico's sexuality itself doesn't bother me. Just, like...
Yeah. No,
I don't see that at all.
Yes, okay, I get it, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a little annoying. Also funny, but annoying.
Felt the same way.
Okay, so yes, let's talk about Daedalus as like, I don't know, slightly antagonist, like a wild card. What would you classify Daedalus kind of in this book? So who you might know as Quintus. So
that's like a wild card because he was not necessarily your antagonist, but like
he's a good anti-hero, I would say.
Yeah.
It's like he's on the side of good kind of, but he's willing to do whatever he wants for his own. Like he's not ruled by morality, but I do think that he's good.
Right.
If that makes sense.
No, yeah, I agree.
I think that he knows what right and wrong is, and he's just kind of lost sight of it and kind of been like, I just want to hide and survive as long as I can. I think that's where we find him in the book.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And so he's trying to find out if doing the right thing is worth risking his survival, and that's why he comes to camp.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Because he directly says.
He directly says, like, the line you just said, that, like, he was seeing that if, like, the camp was worthy of his sacrifice or whatever. Yeah.
Also, do we of the laptop in later books?
Yeah, we have the laptop because it's in Battle of the Olympian, the Lost Olympian.
I was gonna say,
is there?
I know that it's mentioned.
But
I was gonna say, I think we actually might. I think it is. Because I I can't say it without spoiling, but I do feel like there was mention of it in the Mark of Athena.
I was gonna say, I think that it's brought out in Mark of Athena.
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
Because I was like, I remember it being the last Olympian, but I don't remember it playing a huge role. And then I was like, why was it just dropped? Okay, so it wasn't. I just hadn't read it.
I think it stays a minor detail in the last Olympian, but it's been a while since I've read that, so I could be wrong.
I think they pull like a design from it, and that's it.
Yeah. But yeah, Daedalus makes a very interesting like character, because even I couldn't remember why he was there. I'm saying, what are we doing? What's going on? What do you think about him? Like, he kind of gets redeemed in this book through his arc, but like, I found myself kind of questioning whether or not he should have been. I'm not gonna lie.
The child of Athena's final stand.
Yeah.
I don't know. It like the time when he kills his nephew is pretty irredeemable. It also makes like teenage girls murderers by killing a man in his bath, which is just like kind of really disturbing.
I mean, he deserved it, but
I know. Being like, yep.
I don't know. I found myself questioning that decision, that he doesn't get punished worse than he is punished, because I feel like it's the Perdix thing that really like just kind of sinks his character for me. I'm like,
yeah,
but then says in the end that he doesn't go to Elysium, but he goes. His punishment is to make architecture. So he has a lifelong, like, he'll never get rest, but he is allowed to see. And it seems that whatever his nephew's name, whatever, like, him and whatever, and there's redemption there, which if the guy who he murdered is okay with forgiving him, I'm okay with it.
yes.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, yeah, I think that the fact that like that he doesn't get to go to Elysium, I think that it's always been enough for me, just because I'm like, well,
yeah,
you're not actually like super happy in your afterlife. So.
That was one of those things that I was like, he really should have had worse than what he got. But I mean, he did do the right thing in the end, which is to shut down the labyrinth. So,
and if you think about the fact that like one of the reasons why he avoided death was simply because Minos was the Ghost King.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, and he was so.
Although that was his fault.
True. But the fact that like he willingly gave up, something that he'd held for so long is definitely interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, talking about if people redemption, it clicked to my mind. Dionysus in this book, who actually does good things. Like, I guess he did a good thing last book, but like, it's very interesting because he's gone and then he comes back and he has like these scenes that aren't bad with Percy, which I always thought was very interesting. I always thought Dionysus was a very interesting character.
Me too. I always like that Rick, like, I like the way Rick writes his character. I think that like the fact that like, well, especially since he starts out as such like this just
joke.
Yeah. And just this rude like god, like he is like the guy that gives like the bad name to the gods kind of, but then like he's slowly redeemed. I think that not only like is that just great character development, but I also think that it shows kind of like Rick almost uses him to show like how Percy's kind of changing like the gods' point of view. Wow, I just really threw out that literary analysis right there. But yeah, I think that like it almost shows like how Percy has changed this world throughout the series, how Dionysus acts to situations.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do like that Percy is continually challenging them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Clarice actually gets some depth. Like, she got some depth in the Sea of Monsters, but it's like, oh, she actually has a heart.
Yeah, I think that this is one of the reasons why this book's one of my favorites, because there's so many characters that finally get like full stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I love like seeing that like human side of Clarice. I remember reading that and just being like, oh my gosh, like I actually like really like her as a character now.
I think that's another one that you can kind of see her character changing as we see Percy's character changing, because like she was just a straight up bully.
Yeah.
And then I think we see a start of a change in Sea of Monsters, and then we definitely see like a difference between her and her Aries siblings in this one, because I don't remember, was it at the end, or was it when they were doing the kind of the thing with the trying to get the laurel crowns from the Scorpions, but like she was like telling her siblings to shut up because they were like laughing at Percy or something. I can't remember which part it was, but I remember that happened in this one. And she's like, hey,
I don't remember which part.
But I did like that. I like that we see her kind of growing as these events. And I think that shows that like when you have a connection with someone, when you have a reason to respect someone, suddenly like their point of view can start to change your point of view. And I think that's something we see happening with Clarice.
Yeah.
You know, he's not just the dinky new kid that is Lord of the Bathroom anymore.
Oh.
So, was there anything else particular that you wanted to talk about the Labyrinth men?
No, other than it just being really cool.
I do. I love how it's got. I loved how it had like the different sections.
Yeah.
That was so cool.
Oh, I also love that it like pre-planning. Clarice was gone. Why was she gone? Like it actually like did into this book too.
Yeah. That was really cool. And I love. Okay, so this book, I feel like we've really had a lot of like direct correlations to Greek mythology with a twist. Yeah. You know what I mean? I feel like in this book we had a lot of those.
Yes.
More possibly even than Sea of Monsters.
I agree. Yeah. I don't really
we had the Sphinx, which was a hilarious scene.
I love that scene.
Oh. Also Pan.
Yeah, we got Pan. But we also had like him washing up on Ogygia. Let's see, there were a couple of others that I remember, and then him having to, let's see. Okay, Sphinx, Ogygia, like him having to muck out the stables like he's Hercules.
Mm-hmm.
So like a lot of direct like it wasn't even just like throwing the characters in there, like we're actually facing the same situations that Greek heroes had to face at times.
Right.
I really liked that.
Yeah.
And then it's just all out. Oh, there's stuff at the bottom of that. We've gotten to the end of my tea.
Ow.
Yikes.
Yeah. It's loose leaf tea, so of course, like some of the silt just kind of goes through the sieve, and it's.
Just eat it, girl. It tastes great.
No, thank you. I'm already having hard enough time not coughing. All right, I had some yellow tabs of things I wanted to talk about. Let's see what some of them were.
Ethan.
Oh yeah, Ethan. Honestly, we get so little of him, but he is so interesting as a character.
Also, the minor gods coming in.
Yeah,
that's a discussion with and like a bunch of others, like and like how that happened and the rejection of them and stuff.
Like basically, the Olympians have been digging their own grave for centuries at this point.
Yeah, and it comes around like we actually meet a dude that's like the daughter of revenge or the son of revenge, and like how that comes in and how Coffin and all of that. I hadn't put those two together yet. It's like it's the vengeance of the minor gods, and it's being wow. Okay. Anyways, can we also appreciate this cover for the fact that it's got Kronos rising from the dead, basically? Oh, yeah.
I love it.
I'm going to be honest, I never noticed that.
I was sitting there like, I think when I first saw it, I thought it was Talos, but it's Kronos.
Oh my gosh.
I've never super liked those covers, so I just avoid them. Like, I just think this is such a prettier cover. I'm sorry.
I mean,
But
it
yes,
is.
that is.
These, I mean, I prefer the original covers, but these new ones are gorgeous. Let me see if there's anything that we haven't covered that I actually want to talk about. Because I could sit there and we could talk about Perkabeth for an hour with me and not go anywhere.
Yep.
I love how with the monsters that are coming after them. One of the things that really, I was just like, I shook my head at Annabeth because she's like, really, the entire forest and half of the monsters are after us, and I'm like, girl, you're with Percy.
She should expect this by now.
It's the literal theme of his life, hun.
Actually,
You picked the wrong dude. Not the wrong dude.
I mean, at this point, she's screwed too because she's powerful too. So
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
I love it.
I love it. I love this book so much. I really do. Okay, so we got to talk about that kiss scene. Okay, we just have to.
So great.
It gets me every time. I love it every time.
The first time I read this book, I just remember reading it. I closed the book, kind of just sat there, like thinking, processing, and then I just remember like shooting up and just going, "Oh my god, they kissed!"
See, I knew that scene was coming. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Burge. She was a really, really big Percy Jackson artist back in like the early 2000s.
I love Burge.
She is the reason I started reading Percy Jackson. And I had seen that scene and like what happened under there. And I love that it's like he doesn't know whether she is going to punch him or what. And then she kisses him and like, and his brain melts.
And then he melts a mountain.
Yeah, that too. That the explosion of Mount Etna is a literary analysis for what Percy's brain does in that moment.
Truly.
Just like his mind was blown.
I just love how you're just not sitting still. It's adorable. It's like
I don't sit still very well.
Especially when you're talking about Percy.
Yes, I'm also in a spinny chair, so it moves sometimes without me. Like, oh, we're going this way now. But I really like. Somehow that scene surprises me every time, even when I know it's coming.
Oh my gosh, I love that.
I never expect the kiss to happen as soon as it happens. I'm like, oh, we're like only halfway down the page.
Yeah. Every time I have to like reread it, and maybe it's just because it's like one of the greatest moments of my life, or it's just because I'm like, oh my god, it happened.
I feel like part of it is I'm just so caught up in Percy's point of view that I am as surprised as he is.
Yeah, that too.
Like, I think up till that point, there was no part of him that thought Annabeth would like him.
Oh, no, absolutely not. No.
Didn't matter what he felt. He's like, she doesn't feel that way about me.
Oh, but really, if we're talking about Percabeth, the real... It's, Athena to blame. Because he was going to make a move last book, but then Athena got mad at him.
Oh, I know. I remember that.
Because, like, he was ready.
He was going to say something, and then Athena had to swan in, or owl in, I guess. I feel like she's never going to come around to this, but she's going to have to deal with it.
Yeah. She is going to have to deal with it. They're going to get married, and they're going to have babies, and they're going to live happily ever after.
And then
in theory, I mean, we do have the fact that most demigods don't live past their 20s or so.
Don't talk.
Well, they don't even live till 16. Although, even
Children
though
of the Big Three.
Rick has, like, slowed the time down, because I haven't read the last few books, but, like, they're not even 18 yet.
No. Yeah, it's weird.
It's like they progressed 1 year at a time, and then the last like 8 books, it's been like 1 year.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't read. I know Heroes of Olympus, I think, only takes place over like a year or so.
Yeah.
So he's 17 by he's.
I don't think his birthday's even happened. It's literally like beginning of August because Annabeth, it says her birthday is like August 7th, and it's near the end of the book.
Her birthday is July 12th, according to the wiki.
12th. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
I understood. I got you.
That's the one birthday I will never forget. Which
July
is
12th, and then it ends in August 7th. Is that what I'm thinking? I don't know.
Yeah. Now that does bring about an interesting conundrum, speaking of things that Rick doesn't remember. So in the first book, she says the hat is a present from her mom, but her birthday but her birthday hadn't happened yet. So she technically wasn't 13 yet. I don't remember, but like the way she worded it, it seemed like she'd gotten the hat recently for her birthday that had already happened. I was just like this, like I think it was like my mom gave it to me this year for my birthday, and I'm like, your birthday hasn't happened yet, sweetheart.
That's because he wrote it like 9 years later.
Yeah. So, anyways. All right. So let's talk about how this is. The things that have been set up, though, for the next book, the things that I really like, going back to Nico and Percy's last conversation.
Well, it goes right into the first one. Is that, well, other than the end of the world begins with a Pegasus landing on my car?
Yeah.
It's like ruining my stepdad's car or like something.
Yeah, at the end of the world begins with the Pegasus on my stepdad's Prius or something like that. It's a brilliant first line.
Oh, landed on the hood of my car. I was right. I wasn't sure if it was more specific.
Anyways, but yeah, that's such a great way to begin a book. But that's the next book. But we have so many interesting things in play right now that we need to resolve for the next book.
Well, I think that like back to like the whole like secondary characters, I think that Rick does a great job at like, because he introduces finally all of these like backstories, we start to understand that they're just as important as Percy and Annabeth and all of the mains. And so I think that the next book, you really realize that. You're really like, oh, I have to watch out for these people.
He's setting up the next book to be about more than Percy. Yeah. I like that. Also, I was so sad we had all the deaths that we had at the end of this. Like, we didn't even know their names until this book. But I really was so sad that, was it Pollux that died or was it Castor?
I think it was Pollux.
Yeah.
Okay, that Pollux and Lee Fletcher died. Like, I feel like I was sad because Dionysus was sad, but at the same time, like, it just was...
But also, he just keeps on killing the darn Apollo people.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I mean, honestly, he should be killing off the Hermes kids because there are way too many of them anyways.
Yeah, and they're not even all Hermes, and like they don't have they don't really have like as much gifts. Although if one of the Stoll brothers had died,
oh, we're rioting.
I would have thrown hands. Things would have been.
We are going to Massachusetts and we are flipping tables.
Yes. I would personally love a series based around the Stoll brothers.
Yes.
Like, I've been thinking about this probably a little too much, but when am I never not thinking about Percy Jackson? But like lately, that is like all I've wanted in my life is just a series around the Stolls.
I just want just for Nico, who's always brought to be a minor character, even though he was like one of the most important people in Heroes of Olympus. He just didn't get to be part of the 7.
No, yes.
Sorry. Bring it back.
In my heart, he is one of the 7. I'm gonna call him one of the 7, but
I think that technically would make it one of the 8.
I know, it's always Nico, who's very important to the plot. He does a lot more than some of the other characters. Anyways,
That's
bitterness aside.
Oh, you're probably being bitter about some of my faves. That's okay. I love you anyways. But yes, I'm speaking of Nico. We do have the question of like, what is Nico going to do? I mean, we know, but like, it is a really interesting question that gets set up.
Yeah.
For the next book, like, ooh, what's Nico's idea? Like,
Luke.
Having to figure out, yeah.
Luke, when you read the books, right, and you shipped Luke and Annabeth, which is very weird.
I never did.
What?
Never. I
thought you said something about like
I shipped Luke and Talia.
Okay.
Oh yeah, no.
I swear you said something about the fact that like you didn't think it was weird because you didn't realize the age difference.
Oh yeah, I didn't think it was okay. Yeah, I didn't think that Annabeth and Luke's like kind of. Although that gets into spoiler territory, but what happens between then and the next book, I didn't think that question was weird the first time I read it because I didn't realize he's freaking 19. For some reason, for me, in the books, the only people that aged were Percy and Annabeth.
Oh yeah, no, totally.
Yeah, she was like a teenager and she was like 6, really, and then they grew up, and then like when he leaves camp, she's only 12, which also means she's a year older than. Is she a year older than Percy?
She is a few months older than Percy, so she turns 13 a month before he does.
Oh yeah, because it always happens in the summer, but both of their birthdays are in the middle of the summer, so they're actually turning the year older. So like they're like almost 13 and then 14, and they're actually 15 because their birthdays happen. Yeah. Anyways,
because he literally turns 16 in the next book. I keep having to remind myself of that as well. Yeah, in all honesty,
he was actually. Like, the last 3 books all took place in the course of 1 year, which is really weird for me, because Sea of Monsters and the Battle Labyrinth don't feel like they took place in 1 year span.
I think, no, Titan's Curse and Battle of the Labyrinth are within the same year span, but then we have a whole nother year for the last Olympian.
Yeah.
Why can't I remember that title?
It's only 6 months.
What?
It's only 6 months.
Between Battle of the Labyrinth and the last Olympian?
Sea of Monsters and the Titan's Curse, and then it's another 6 months between. Yeah, so it's like...
Yeah, Sea of Monsters. Okay, yeah, like, so these last 3 books. Okay, I thought you said the last 3 books.
Like, there's the same difference... Yeah, there's the same difference between, like, the Lightning Thief and the Sea of Monsters as there is between the Sea of Monsters and... the Battle of Labyrinth. And he ages so much.
Yeah.
I mean, definite stuff goes down, so I don't blame him. Percy had to grow up way too fast.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
So sad.
What I was doing at 16.
I don't like to talk about it.
I don't like to talk about it with any of them. It makes me sad that these children have to grow up so fast, but at the same time, if they didn't have to grow up so fast, it would not be nearly as entertaining.
I mean, yeah, you're right.
And our entertainment is worth their loss of innocence, apparently.
I mean,
also, yeah, they're like big, so
they're fictional.
Right, yeah. But are they?
Not in my heart.
I used to talk so passionately about them when I was in high school. My mom was like, "You realize these people aren't real?" And I was like, "Of course I do."
Yeah, sure, Ma. Yes, I do. Oh my gosh. So, all right. Is there anything else you guys want to cover before we close down? Because we're getting almost at the 1 hour mark.
How terrifying Kronos is, and it's not even the final book. Like, yeah, he's taken out by a blue plastic hairbrush, but like, whew, that like nice little like, this is what is to come. You can't even move when he's in the room.
Oh man, also,
yeah. Luke's body. That when I first read it. Oh.
That was one of the things I wasn't spoiled for. But like I was even knowing that there's a next book and what happened that like he has to fight Kronos in the next book, obviously. when we got to that scene where Kronos was stopping time around Percy, I was like, oh crap, how's Percy going to get out of this?
The blue freaking.
Yeah, I knew like that didn't know because I knew a lot of the secrets because I read The Lost Hero, which kind of summarizes in it a lot of the books.
Yeah.
But I didn't know exactly. I just knew Luke had turned bad, but then other things had happened, and he had a special relationship with Annabeth and Talia. But
yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah. All right. Okay, so I think that is going to wrap our live show up. We will be getting back to everybody. Keep an eye on the Read DA Twitter account, which is linked down in the description box, for when we will be having the February live show, I guess it is.
Yeah.
Because it's the of love.
Yes, I know. We didn't plan it this way, but we ended up reading the book that happens in December. Min was talking about this earlier, and then we're going to be reading the most romantic book in the series in February.
And we had the monstrous book in October.
Yes. Wow, we're
the beginning of the series at the beginning of September. It was perfect.
I had zero. Actually, no, I did plan the whole reading the monsters book in October. I did plan that one. Not intentionally.
Took 2 months to read Battle Craziness, but and Rome. Yeah. But that's also.
Leave me alone.
Thank you for that input.
I love being home. It's great.
All right, well, that is it for our live show today, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you're watching it later, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. Let us know down in the comments below your thoughts on this book. I will let my two co-hosts say goodbye real quick.
Bye, guys. Thanks so much for joining.
Bye.
All right, don't forget to check out their channels in the description box below. I can never remember what it's called. Description box below, and I will see you guys later where we will talk about more Percy Jackson. Bye!